Board games, board games, we're talking about board games, and Bez is my name. Board games, we're talking about board games, and Bez is my name. I don't know why I'm repeating the lyrics of the song, because I can't find lyrics to sing along to. I cannot think of many lyrics to this intro song, but that's the way it goes. Hello, everybody. I'm Bez, and today I'm going to be doing Bezzy Breakfast board game Blether, and today I'm going to be talking about Just One. We're going to be looking at this. This is a game I really enjoy. I've played it with a whole bunch of friends. I'm sure that there's some people who would not enjoy it, but frankly, if by the end of this show you think, hey, I might enjoy it, then you almost certainly will. It won the Spiel des Jahres last year, which is the most prestigious prize in the world. And before we start, and if you have any questions about Just One, then ask me. For now, let's get on with the regular things, which is to talk about brilliant things, to talk about games that I played yesterday, to talk about highlights. And if you have any highlights yourself, please put them in the comments. I think it's that way. And yeah, thank you very much for following along. Do. So what have we got to start with? So, brilliant things. I want to talk about bags. Seriously. Okay, so this is a bag. I'm sure you know what a bag looks like. It's got, a parts to put things into. Often it has handles, and maybe it has a zip, or maybe not. But the point is, let's say you have things and then you want to put them into something else, like a container. Maybe you are tired of carrying around 50 cards, so you want to put them into something else. Then you have two options. You either put them into a box or you put them into a bag. Now, boxes are brilliant, don't get me wrong. Boxes, I love boxes, because if you have something where this is exactly what's going to stay in this box, it's for a long time, then boxes are amazing. But the great thing about bags is you can put them into your pocket, you can take them out with you when you're shopping, and then you can put your shopping in it, and then you don't need to carry like 10 things or however many home. Even my rucksack, I think that's a bag. So I just want to hear it for bags. And thank you very much, Dave and Kate, for watching along. It's lovely to have you with me. Next, I want to talk about games that I've been playing recently. So yesterday, I played games with Nicole Fendi and Heather Newton, two lovely, lovely people from the Board Game Broads. There's this thing every Wednesday that we do about 7 p.m. UK time. Now, what did we play? We played Medium, which is Heather's game. So Medium is a game where you've got two people with a single word, and then you need to find a word that's in between the two of them. So, for example, someone might say city, someone might say monster, and then the word is clearly Japan or Godzilla. I don't know, it's probably Godzilla. And then people try to find the medium. And this is based on an improv game, often called Convergence. And within Medium, you've got 3 goes to normally get it. And yeah, Medium is a brilliant game. Just to go back to bags, Kate McMillan, I'm sorry. Sometimes there is no point, and that's just a thing to, I guess, it's not really a life lesson, but it's certainly a lesson for here. I just think that bags are really awesome, and I think that sometimes it's really worthwhile appreciating the things around us and appreciating that we have bags that we can put things into, because imagine a world without bags. Imagine where we only had boxes, where we had to carry things in boxes. That would be quite bulky. And then we've got Dave who says, yeah, 4 Elements comes in a lovely bag, and you can have bags to draw things out of. For example, you've got bag building games. I believe you've got Quarriors. You've got, yeah, games where you're just like, oh, what do I get out of here? And bags allow you for that randomization. You can use a box lid, but it's a little bit harder. Bags allow you to pinch the lid and to then really feel inside. Bags are brilliant. I just want to appreciate the brilliant things around us. And so, no, there is no more point. Um, so back to the games that I've been playing. Medium, yeah, it was a good game. We also played a sort of playtest of a related game that we thought of where we were just trying to do convergence with multiple people, where three of us all started with one word, and then when two of us kind of converged on one word, then then they became a team and they could now collaborate. And so the idea is that that would be a really fun game to play as a big group, especially when this whole thing is lifted and if people are able to come in person for my birthday party on August. We'll see how that goes. Do you think that this will? Do you think I'll be able to have a large number of people for my birthday in August? Bet now, or not bet, but you know what I mean. Guess now. Anyway, I think that having people say, oh, trying to get all the same words with their little whiteboards, and then when people have a match, go and make a little group, and then you're making clusters, and that will give the game an overall arc, even though it is more of an activity. But sometimes you just want an activity. Sometimes you just want to spend time together, especially in these times, and that's so good. I also played Balanceable, which let me see if you can. So this is the first game that I played with Heather, and this is the second game that I played with Heather. It was kind of a playtest. This rule set I'd played before. It's two different lines you need to balance. Here, it's only the one line you need to balance, and we only played with 16 cards. So the way it works is you start off with one letter. Here, the D was the starting letter. You make words backwards and you make words forwards. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. So that was a bit imbalanced. I got 6 for the balancing and 7 for my longest word for a total of 13 points. That's a really simple game. I quite enjoyed it. And I think I probably will be playing it on the live stream at some point in the future. That is games that I have been playing recently. And Dave Weatherall apparently is working on a game drawing dice from bags. I mean, yeah, that sounds quite fun. Good for you. Games, happy news, and highlights. So, highlights to my day. Well, I have watched The Midnight Gospel. Has anyone else seen this show? It's really, really out there. So The Midnight Gospel, it's this animation. It's totally adult. I wouldn't recommend watching it with children. It does have references to sex and death and quite serious topics. It's all about coming to terms with your place in the world, even after maybe someone's gone away from you or someone is about to die. And it's about being lonely sometimes and the process of meditation, but being unable to meditate. It's actually, so in this animation, you've got this almost chilled, sedate conversation between two characters who are real world people basically acting as themselves, but then they're set into this fictional world with this crazy trippy animation where they're sort of talk where in the first animation, for example, there's a zombie outbreak and then they're killing all the zombies, and it's hyper violent, almost like lots of blood and mutilation, and then giant monsters rampaging through the city, all this crazy stuff going on. But meanwhile, the two main characters are just having this sedate conversation as if they were sitting down for a cup of tea. And so it's a really interesting juxtaposition. But meanwhile, the topic of what they're talking about vaguely relates thematically to what you see on screen. And it's 8 episodes, so about 4 hours all in all. And I've now watched the whole show, and I found it unlike anything else. It was really awesome. Oh, hello, Liz. It's my lovely friend, Liz Chu. So thank you very much for popping in. And now I'm going to go to the main topic, everyone, which is Just One. So if you don't know this game, I will explain it to you. If you do know this game, well, then hopefully we'll be able to discuss it together and come to some really deep conclusions, because that's the way we roll. Now, Just One. How do you play it? I'm not going to tell you any more than you see on the back of the box. So I already talked to you about this a couple of days ago. I just think this is brilliant, how much information the box gives you. Work together to discover as many mystery words as possible. That's absolutely true. You've got the deck of 13. It's fully cooperative. That's important. It's a cooperative game. You're all working together. And with most party games, I don't know why, there's not that many cooperative party games out there until you came along with Just One and Wavelength. And of course, the Mind. It seems to be a recent trend in games where you work together. Now, everyone, there's a clue guesser. They pick a number from 1 to 5, and you might pick, for example, circus. Now, everyone writes a word. For example, in this example, they've written tent, arena, clown, and clown. Now, the trick is you're allowed to write any word you want. You're not allowed to write multiple words. It has to be just the one word you write. You're allowed to even use symbols or SMS language. Or you're allowed to write numbers, like, or a dollar sign for America. But you cannot write, obviously, circus. You cannot write, if the answer was America, you couldn't write Murica or American. You can't do that. But in this example, the trick of the genius part of this game is that if anyone writes the same word, for example, clown and clown are the same, then when you compare them, clown and clown are deleted. And then finally, the person has 2 words left. In this example, arena and tent are remaining because they were unique clues, because there was just one of them, hence the name of the game. And they guess circus. So, of course, in this fictional example, everyone's happy. And now the box says it's for 3 to 7 players. I have played it at 3 players. I've played it at most of the player counts. I've even played it going slightly beyond the player count using whiteboards from another game. I will point out that there is a big difference. With fewer players, with 3 players, it's a variant. Now, I want to give a shout out to Between Two Cities by Ownmeyer Games. Between Two Cities, in that game, it's got this, I wish I'd brought the box, sorry for this, but it says this game is for 3 to 7 players with a variant for 1 to 2. If this game was being honest, it would say it's 4 to 7 players with a variant for 3. The truth is it can be played with 3, but with 3, everyone is now putting in 2 clues, and then they compare it. 3 is just not the same game. 4 is a little bit nicer. 5, 6 is probably where it really shines. 7 is kind of getting a little bit easy. And if you play with 8 or more, which you can do by bringing in your own components, then you're just basically doing it as an activity, because it's just a lot of fun, frankly. 8 plus, I would agree with that. Yeah, you can play it with 8-year-olds, I would guess. 20 minutes, yeah, that's probably correct. And it apparently contains 110 cards, 7 easels, which are just fancy way of saying whiteboards, but they are actually really nice whiteboards, also in the minimits. 7 erasable felt markers, 1 rule book. And it's got all that stuff. It's from Ludovic, Rudy, and Bruno Sutter. And Kate says that they just got to play it yesterday with the youth group, and they love it. And I think that's a really important thing to say, that this game is so accessible to so many people, and it's wonderful. I mean, I reckon that any person, even if they don't normally play games, even like my mum and dad and family, could probably fully understand this. The rules are simple. You've got kind of 4 pages of A5, and the last page is just saying, hey, here's some scoring system. Broadly speaking, let's talk. Let me show you all the components. You've got, this is the box. You've got some cards. For example, I don't want to show you the top card because that's, the bottom cards are the ones that have lost you. So we had House, Godfather, War, Rope, and Wine. And sometimes you even get things that are from franchises or fandoms, such as Jedi or, yeah, Jackson. I mean, Jackson is interesting because you've got different Jacksons. I mean, I might talk about Jackson Pope if I was in a company that knew flick ships, for example. Now, these are the easels that they've talked about, where you can actually put on your cards. So let me get back one of those cards that I've already seen from the bottom. So this is the way it would work with a little lip. That's really nicely produced. Obviously, it goes that way. That is really nicely produced. And on this entire white thing, you've got these little markers. Now, there's no need for these markers to be different colors. There is absolutely no functional requirement, but still you get pink, black, green, purple, blue, orange, and red, just to let people, you know, express themselves a little bit. That's a lovely thing. Yes, Jess, you could absolutely play it. And Jess, I'm sure you would enjoy it because, yeah, I know you. And let's look at how these markers work. Literally, you can do little doodles. Oh, whoops. Was what you could do little doodles anywhere you want. And you can. This entire thing is a whiteboard. Like, is that not super cool? I like, you could even go inside, even though, you know, why the hell would you do such a thing? But yeah, and then, oh, I don't even need to do that. I could use the felt because on the back of it, there is a little felt eraser. That is really nice components. I'm going to say, you can see yourself, for components, this game gets a solid A+ from me. Like, well done, Repros Productions. You've done a really good job. And I like the fact that this game doesn't use more than its box. It's got, people talk about inserts. Now, plastic inserts, this has got a little bit of branding with the triangles that you maybe can see at the bottom. The triangles reflecting the triangle of the front cover of just one. It's not something that's you know, horrible and overstated, like actually telling you the name of the game. It's just a little understated triangle that, you know, everything in this box has been done with care. And I've never actually taken this thing out. Oh no, maybe I have, because I must have gotten this with the game, like a little thing that talks about concepts for kids. Another good game by the same people. So, how does concept work? Let's talk a little bit more about it. Normally you get 13 cards and it's all about a high score game. If you pass, if you guess the clue correctly, you score a point. If you guess wrongly, you lose 2 potential points. And if you choose to skip, you lose 1 potential point. That's basically all the rules. I have now told you all the rules of the game, except that's obviously the guesser rotates clockwise. It's really simple, as I said. Now, I think this is where we start getting deep in details. Firstly, let's talk about the cards. 110 cards times 5 words. That's 550 words. I mean, if by default you're playing 13 games, I mean, that's 550 divided by 13. I don't know how many that is. I'm going to actually look. That's 42 games before you've seen all the words, and that's assuming that you get perfect. And so it might be that after 110 divided by 13, which is a bit less than 10, so after less than 10 games, you will potentially have seen some stuff. And I see Kate is heading off. Thank you very much, Dave and Kate. It's been lovely having you with us. And I hope you're always welcome, as long as you can stay, as short as you can stay. Have a brilliant day. So bye for now. But back to the number of cards. I think that 110 cards is actually really good. What I've personally been doing is I just always go for number 1. And so that way I don't start remembering words and potentially seeing words that I've heard before. But even despite that, I have started hearing similar words, and I think that there is probably going to be demand. I don't know how many millions they've sold of it, or hundreds of thousands. I mean, it must be hundreds of thousands. I'm guessing it's millions, because yeah, when you win the Spiel des Jahres, it does increase your sales by quite a bit. So 110 cards divided by 13, I think we've established, what is that, about 8? This is the, really? 110 divided by 13, yeah, 8.5. So after 8.5 games, you have seen all the cards. Now, is this enough? This is a genuine question. Given that there's some mixture, that kind of keeps it going longer, because you're like, oh, it might be that word that I've seen before, it might not be. And unless you've got some system where, okay, everyone says all the number ones first until you start seeing the same words, and now you all say the number twos, you're not going to properly cement anything in your mind. And as I say, I do hope and believe that they will come up with some expansion for this, but we can't guarantee that. There is, the other thing I want to say is, frankly, once you've played it 8.5 times, have you gotten your money's worth? That is a genuine question now. I would posit that yes, even after 8.5 times, like of unadulterated, amazing fun, that's like a good 4 hours, for the case of 25 quid. I think that's a decent value. And then you can carry on playing, and you might now see the same word again, but you probably won't encounter it. And yeah, so that's 110 cards. Now let's talk about the easels. These easels are genius. And let me actually move my things around and bring in the red box. I mean the red covered box. So doing a red box. Doing a red box. Okay, now I can put things down here. So these easels are genius. This is amazing product design. Seriously, the fact that the entire thing is made of the sorts of plastic that you can rub whiteboard markers off. So you don't need to worry. Sometimes you've got cards with little whiteboard bits in the middle, or only one side of the card is whiteboarded. This isn't, oh, there's a good side and a bad side. It's whichever side you go on. Brilliant. And secret tip, if you write on this side, it is definitely better, because you write on this side and then you put it down, and because of the little lip, this won't touch the table. So in theory, I would say that if they could have had lips on both sides of the thing, then that might have been even better. I don't know if that would have looked weird, or because then you would write it on either side and put it down. Conversely, the fact that it's got a direction to it gives a little bit of asymmetry. But either way, this is just really nice, and it's solidly made. I mean, I'm actually pushing down there. It's got a bit of flex to it. I mean, if a kid was actually trying to destroy it, then sure, it would get destroyed. But no. And yeah, erasable felt markers. We go back into meaningless things. We go back into the fact that, yeah, these markers do not need to be all different. Now, are they all bright and easy to read? The orange, which is the one that you might be wary of, no, that's pretty easy to see. The pink and the green, they look a bit bright. Hopefully, all these inks, oh, actually, I think if you notice, the green's a little bit different from how it actually looks on the top of the pen. And everything is marginally different. I'm not bothered by that. I'm just actually noticing it for the first time right now. Black, there we go. Purple. And why have colors in games? I mean, in an example like this, where no one is going to have to distinguish, oh, that blue's a lot brighter than this blue. In a game where we don't have to distinguish who wrote this rule, who wrote this word, because that's not part of the game at all. And this red starting to run out, I don't know if that's because I've used a lot of red or because it was always a little bit fainter than this red. Anyway, the colours are very nice. Interestingly, they're all very readable. They're all very good. And let's talk about self-expression. Let's talk about games where you get to choose from a bunch of characters, even though it's completely meaningless. Let's talk about games where you get to choose from a bunch of colors, even though it's completely meaningless. It allows you to have some investment, and that in itself is a wonderful thing. The fact that you're playing a game and it's like, okay, this game, I'm allowed to express myself by my choice of being black because it's black like my heart. Or someone else says, I want to be red. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to be purple because actually, unbeknownst to you, purple is my favorite color to play in games. Something as small a choice as this, let alone something where it's an adventure game where you're choosing between the ranger and the fighter, where you've got multiple styles of playing, or even where it's double-sided cards, where sometimes they have characters. Okay, let's say there's a fighter and sometimes there's a woman on one side and sometimes there's a man, but then that is a very binary normative thing to do. And let's kind of talk about the fact that in such games, sometimes it's good to just have a wide range of pre-selected things to say, yeah, we're going to go into this. And I think that the colors, having something as small as colors that allow you to play, are so good. Now, I just want to go through the game and really delve into what this game makes me feel. What does this game make me feel? This game makes me feel tension as I'm drawing the thing, saying, okay, am I going to be the same word as someone else? Is someone else going to be writing exactly the same as me, or are things going to get deleted? It gives me some stress, and sometimes this is the worst part of the game. When you're the guesser and you don't know what to guess, and you know that everyone's relying on you, and you're like, oh my god, I might let the group down. And then you have to say, well, based on all these clues, I feel like I should be getting it. And the group's relying on me, but I just can't quite get it. How do I work this out? And so, arguably, like, if you wanted to house rule a little bit of that away, maybe at a higher player count, you'd have two people being the guesser, because that is a serious kind of onus on someone to say, oh my god, I've got the guess of tent and arena on, like, the example on the tent and arena, like, would I guess circus? I don't know. I might just look at tent and arena and think, oh my god, what is this? Is it like a wrestling ring? Is it a fate? I might get to circus, but I might not. And I have had games where, you know, there's just one clue that's throwing us, and I'm like, okay, it's one of these two things, and then I guess one of them, and then it's actually the other one, and that's a feel bad moment. In any cooperative game where everyone is relying on you, there is a potential feel bad moment where, like, oh my god, I wanted to help you all, but I just couldn't. At the same time, with everyone else at the table, as long as everyone's, you know, understanding, that's hopefully not going to be too much of an issue. So that is the worst part of the game, that potential tension and feel bad for the guesser. Now, when you have a word that is slightly different from someone else's, there is often the question of, is this a match or not? So, for example, mouse and mouse are clearly identical, but prince and princess are identical. But philosophy and philosophy spelt in a different way are identical. But then, I mean, I guess garden and gardening are also identical. And you get sometimes, very, very rarely, but sometimes you just get into that, oh, are they the same clue or not? And sometimes this game gets a lot into how many synonyms do you know? Because frankly, if the clue was danger mouse and it's this is a game, fundamentally, the skill it's testing is your vocabulary. How many synonyms for a thing do you know? Because if you have circus, and if you can think of a synonym for circus that no one else will think of, then brilliant. Sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes the word is cocktail. Now, if you can think of a cocktail that's obviously only got to be one word that no one else will think of, then brilliant. Or you could write dress or glass, or you could try for the one word cocktail example. And if you've some clues are clearly easier than others. It can also depend on knowledge of people. There is at least one real world person that I've seen in these cards. So you do have to have a tiny bit of general knowledge. And if you're playing it with people who aren't English speakers, this is going to be quite tricky for them. You can house rule it. You can say, okay, if we don't believe that the person who's a non-English speaker will know the word pimento, then we'll say, we're not sure if we all know that word, then they choose another one. There's no clear escalation of this is a harder word, this is an easier one. There's nothing like that. The 5 words are always just completely jumbled up. And yeah, so for people speaking English as a second language, you can adapt it and you can say, okay, if there's a word on the clues that you don't know, you're allowed to Google it. You're allowed to check what these things mean. And it's a party game, ultimately. It's not a game of deep strategy. And as a cooperative game, any cooperative game has this trait that fundamentally so let's talk about fairness. Let's talk about bending rules. Let's talk about comparing things. And people want different sorts of scores. So some people want a cooperative game where they're probably going to lose. Some people want a cooperative game where they have a hard-won victory, and eventually, after playing 5 or 10 times, they'll be like, oh my god, I finally beat this game. Other people want it to be a 50-50 split. And other people like a light, simple, joyous thing. And here there is no win or lose. You've got your score out of 13. Why 13? It is a strange number, and obviously triskaidekaphobia is a thing. I mean, arguably, maybe 12 would have been better. It is a serious question. I don't know why 13. But 0 to 3, it says, try again and again and again. 4 to 6, that's a good start. Try again. 7 to 8, you're in the average. Can you do better? And 9 to 10 is where you don't get told to try again straight away. Wow, not bad at all. Awesome, that's a score worth celebrating. Incredible, your friends must be impressed. 13, perfect score. Can you do it again? And there are nice, light little things. It's not telling you, oh, it's bad. It's just saying, try again and again and again. And it's saying 4 to 6, oh, that's a good start. And sometimes it can be discouraging. If you played your first, let's say you played 3 times, like we played on Monday. We played and we were in the average. And then we played a second time and we got in this range. That's a good start. It's like, well, that wasn't our first game. And then we got 0 to 3 because our third game was, oh my God, I think we got either 3 or 4 points. We didn't even bother checking. We were so terrible. And yeah, let's get into the point of the scoring. So when you're scoring, as I mentioned previously, if you guess and you guess wrongly, let's say people had put in peak and summit, I might guess, I'd probably guess mountain at that point. I'm trying to actually, let's say people did, I mean, let's just say I guessed wrongly. You can imagine some words. So for peanuts, let's say people did shell, monkey, and some people might do Aldi because they know that I buy a lot of nuts from Aldi. And they might also write, yeah, what's legume? Is a peanuts a legume? So based on those words, I might, let's say the monkey gets scrubbed and it ends up with Aldi and legume and I'd probably still go with peanut. But let's say I went with oats cakes because I only end up with Aldi because all the other things are copied. If I guess wrongly, whatever the situation, if I'm like, basically, if I'm 50-50, is this right? Is this not right? Then there is a temptation to be like, oh, I'm going to go for the easy option and just not guess. I'm going to put one down because you only have just one guess. And again, that leads me to my one kind of slight issue with the game, that if you are someone who gets easily upset at games, if you're someone who gets easily upset at, oh my god, I only had one chance and it was a coin flip and I blew it, then this game is not for you. If you're someone who is going to get upset at that, don't play this game. If you're someone who can enjoy that and enjoy, oh, we had a go of it and we're having a bit of fun together, then this is a game for you. And you do need to accept this sort of party thing. But there's a downside to this opting to kind of pass. It kind of feels like sometimes it's a responsibility to say, okay, well, I've got an idea, but I feel a compulsion to the group. I feel a responsibility to the group. I'm going to not play. And that can be a strange tension between what is fun and what is actually scoring you more points. And that's never an ideal thing in game, where you have to decide between doing something fun and doing something for more points. You always want, ideally, those things to be aligned. Now, why did they have this rule in this game? I mean, why was this is? I mean, I would love to interview Ludovic Rudy, and Bruno Sauter. I'd love to ask them, and like anytime, like if we do one of these and have the person on, that would be super cool. I'd love to interview them about this game and say, why did you have that one rule? Why 13 cards when so many people are scared randomly of the number 13? Why not go for 12 or 11? And why, or 14 or 15? Why do you have the option of being allowed to just skip your turn, and then other people don't get the joy of seeing what you would have guessed? Because when you do that, people always say, well, what would you have guessed? And then you kind of say something and, oh, okay. And sometimes when you're guessing and you're like, okay, it's one of these two things, I'm going to guess that one. And that is a nice sort of tension, because even though there's a sense of letting people down, there's almost also the sense of, oh, we almost got it. And that is so much more fun. And so why did they have the option of passing it if you don't know what to do? Should that even be a rule? It is a way for someone to completely escape the, I don't know what to do, I don't want to hurt the group too much, I'm going to lower my tension a little bit. That is probably, if I had to hypothesize, the reason why they did it. In which case, I do wonder, like, should they have multiple people who are guessing to kind of say, okay, it's a team of, yeah, 2 guessers, just to lower the thing. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you're really stuck and if you really are feeling too much tension, which is the worst part of this game, then that ability to say, okay, instead of losing 2 potential points by guessing wrongly, I'm just losing 1. And that is a nice thing about just 1. It is gentle. It isn't going to make you regret the choices you made 5 minutes from now. It's not a game that you will be thinking about tomorrow. It's not a game that you'll be pondering deep in your mind, why did I do this wrongly? Or, oh my God, what was wrong there? Or, oh, if only I'd guessed that. It's not a deep strategy game like Amerigo or even Tifa Tashin, which will generate real stories. It doesn't really generate stories. It doesn't generate things like Kitty Cataclysm where, oh, do you remember that game where Tony was an absolute numpty and then we beat it? someone else won straight after Tony because Tony basically took all the cards from the person, two people to their left. Or it doesn't. I mean, it's a light, frivolous game that you enjoy in the moment. You enjoy spending some time with people, and then it's gone. Now, Alan asks, will we be playing a round of the game? That's sure. If other people are up for it, we could play a round of the game potentially. This is something that can work, but only if we've got at least, I would say, 4 people watching, which I don't think we have. Whoops, I think I dropped a card. Does everyone apart from the guesser get to see the cards, and how is the word chosen from the list of 5? So just to recap, the guesser has that in front of them. I would not be looking, and I'd say, for example, number 1. Now everyone else would see whatever word this number 1 is, and everyone else would write, or I might say number 2, 3, 4, or 5. It's just some pseudo-random choice dictated by me in my mind. Everyone else chooses one of the words. Well, everyone else looks what words their number correlates to. So for number 1, everyone else would say, oh, that's the number. Everyone else would write one word. And let's do one example round, just one. I don't normally do this, but sure. So we'll say someone comes up with light bulb. Now this person is going to say, oh, filament is an easy one. I could say tungsten. I could say switch or electricity. I'm going to go with filament and hope that no one else writes it. This person thinks, oh, light bulb, that can be idea. And then each person who wrote their answer puts them down secretly. And let's say we've got 5 players. So this other person puts down, oh, light bulb, what could be a light bulb? An electric light bulb, an LED light bulb, a tungsten light bulb, or a light bulb filament? I'm going to go with filament because I think that's going to be something that makes them guess light bulb. And finally, this other person says, okay, light bulb, LED. Now, everyone, except for the guesser, looks at all of these clues. So we have filament, idea, LED, and filament. So filament was duplicated, so there can only be just one. It's like Highlander. The game is called Just One. And so you scribble off these words, that's our filament. And so from LED and idea, the person now has to think, okay, what is the word that people would have written LED and idea for? And now this is the tense bit. LED is allowed. You are allowed acronyms. You are allowed symbols. Let's actually look at the rules so you are allowed. Note, a digit, a number, an acronym, an onomatopoeia, or a special character are all allowed to be words. For example, 007 is allowed to help someone guess Bond, just like ring or SMS are allowed to help someone guess telephone, and $sign is allowed to help someone guess America. It's very permissive. And meanwhile, this one person is isolated. They are trying to rack their brains, thinking, what am I going to do with this one thing? Now, if someone else comes along and someone else joins the group, they will be able to get the guesser to sort of see things. Yes, that is correct. So the guesser never sees filament. And what would the guesser guess? What would you guess if you saw these 2 words? I mean, oh, bright. LED is bright. Bright idea. I'm going to guess bright. Or maybe you're a bit more correct. Maybe think, oh, lights. That's what it is, lights. And then you see light bulb. And then you have to decide, is light the same as light bulb? And this leads me to my second issue with the game, that you've got that issue of, is lights the same as light bulb? Now, when you're comparing clues, it's really easy because you're never going to have lights and light bulb. Generally, it's like, okay, well, that's the same thing. We should have gone. I've never actually seen people do it that way. Although, if people did do lights and light bulb, is that the same word? Is it not? Because it's not 100% clear. There's always some kind of, yeah, corner cases, and that's the way that these party games quite often are, that you then have to think, okay, are we going to be generous? Yeah, we'll accept it, but then you don't feel great about it, or you say, oh, we don't accept it, and then you feel resentful. But, or you might say, well, it was close, and you just discard one, but you don't discard two, which is probably what I might do. I don't know. I think I'd probably just say, yeah, light bulb. It's close enough. We go with it. Because it's not meant to be a game that's making you sweat too much. And that brings me to my central question of, what is the purpose of a party game? The purpose of a party game, it's not to prove that you are better than other people. It's not to prove that you are more skillful than someone else. It's not to, I mean, yes, there is a test of skill. Yes, when you're drawing Pictionary, I can be like, oh, I'm able to show off this word using my drawings better than this other person. And it's testing me, and I have to work hard to get this stuff done. With this game, there's a sense of, oh, I need to think 2 steps removed, because I need to think, okay, not just what's an obvious thing that gets you to guess the word, but also what's a word that no one else will write. And that is a genius thing about this game, and that is a lovely thing. And it is kind of testing that, but because of the chaos of the other players, because the central skill that it is testing, i.e., not being the same as other people, is so chaotic and random and hard to predict, because people are chaotic and random and hard to predict, that it can feel, okay, this is not a test of skill. It feels even less skill testing than something like Pictionary or Taboo, for example, where Taboo, you've always got a very similar challenge. There's no one else getting in your way. Here, it's, interestingly, it's all about people getting in each other's way. That is the central tenet of the game. It's all about, I wrote a word, you wrote a word, we matched. That means that we were both thinking too similarly. We need to be more dissimilar. That is the game. It's about stepping on each other's toes inadvertently. It's about that player chaos. It's about that, oh my God, why did you write the same thing about as me? Why did 4 people all match with, why did 2 pairs of people match with each other? Now the guesser literally has no clues at all, and then you just skip the entire round. And I think that is, an interesting part of the game, both because it adds so much chaos to the game, and also because people are interesting. Now, this is the fundamental part of the game. I would say that let's look at trap words. Let's look at trap words, which is another kind of taboo-ish game where the words that you're not allowed to say are dictated by the other team. Now, trap words is a game where the other team decides what. Let's say you've got to get the other person to say box. You might write container, because container is a really easy word to say to describe box. And if they say container, then they lose some points, or I can't remember exactly how that one works. They lose some points, or they lose some impetus, or some timing. But anyway, and then but maybe you don't say container, because container is so obvious that maybe they're going to avoid the word container anyway. So then you think of something else. Maybe you say the word brown, because maybe people are going to say, okay, it's, maybe you use the word put, like it's a thing that you put things into. And this kind of user-generated content keeps you guessing. It keeps it exciting. And that, to me, is the sort of new second generation of party games. I consider, okay, the first generation of party games, like Scrabble's not a party game. Like Trivial Pursuit, it's like maybe the 0th generation of party games, because that's not really a party game. But then you start getting stuff like Taboo, and then the 2nd generation is like, and within the 1st generation, you've also got, it leads on to stuff like Apples to Apples. But then the 2nd generation is where you start having people interact, where you're getting in each other's way, or where you're, whether it's purposefully or accidentally, whether it's trap words where they're like, this is the word that you can't say, or just one where it's, oh my god, I said the same thing as you, sorry. And or indeed say anything, where instead of trying to make each other laugh with pre-printed cards, now you're literally saying anything on little whiteboards, and whiteboard technology is amazing. So yay for whiteboards, because it's opened up so much. Now with this game, Say Anything, because of its nature of cooperation, when you get in each other's way, basically what you're trying to do is avoid frustration, but then in the moments where you are all perfectly avoiding stepping on each other's toes, there's the triumph. So those are the two sides of it, coupled with the tension of, am I any good? So Alan asks, are triangles, yeah, funny how they use triangles in their branding when there's no triangles used in the game. I will say that this is kind of like a triangle, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I think if there's a place where they actually show all the old things, and it's just a fun thing to do, frankly, and why not use a bunch of different colored triangles? And if you look, it even has, like, that should actually be, that's not quite the colors of the marker pens, is it? I just noticed this. These colors are yellow, green, purple, red, blue, and orange. But, okay, we've got the red, blue, orange. If this one were pink, then it would be the color of the marker pens, and wouldn't that be a nice continuation? And so, yeah, why is that one yellow? But frankly, if I'm at the point of dissing the packaging, that's not even like what people are going to be talking about. As I said, this game is about avoiding the frustration of stepping on each other's toes, along with, yeah, the triumph when you manage to do it. And then you have the massive triumph when you manage to get the word exactly, and the tempered triumph when you say lights, when the actual word is light bulb, and then you say, oh yeah, I guess we did get it correctly, but there's the slight feeling of, oh, were we even correct? And then you kind of have some dim awareness that you're slightly breaking the rules, but there's no good way to resolve this. And I think despite these things, so those are my two objections. Firstly, are these words the same thing? That's uncertainty, which does actually arise, I would say, once in every 3 games-ish. Secondly, the whole one person, it has everyone looking at them, waiting for them to say the word, and sometimes it can be ages. Sometimes you just say, well, I just need to take a while, and then everyone else has a bit of a conversation. But despite those two things, it is a wonderful, wonderful game. I mean, this game, let me go back to the fact that it won the Spiel des Jahres in 2019. Now, what is the Spiel des Jahres? What does that mean? That means that the German jury believes that this is the best game for families and people who maybe just buy 1 or 2 games a year. They say this is a brilliant game to play with families and general audience. If you are part of the general audience, Just One is a brilliant game for you. And I would absolutely agree with them. Just One is brilliant. And if you haven't played it, play it. And yeah, I would say honestly, my games of the year in 2019, are personally Kawaii and Just One. I have a lot of fun with them. I enjoy that player-induced chaos. I enjoy people it's a game where it's all about the people you're playing with. It's all about what words will they pick. And that, putting the focus on the players, for me, is where games are at their best. Now, thank you for listening. I hope that you've had, for those of you who are still watching, I hope that you've enjoyed the show. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my own Kickstarter, which is going to be going away in about how many hours? 10 hours to go. So let me quickly talk about my Kickstarter, if I may. So this is a link, and if I finding the window to change the pictures. Darn, I need to let's minimize that. Okay, here we go. So we've got a whole bunch of pictures that you will get as stickers for the low price of £2 within the UK, or £3 for double the stickers. So you'll get about 16 stickers. We're probably not going to reach the stretch goal for the 8th sticker, but I've pretty much decided I'm just going to give it away regardless. So we've got the cat burglist. We've got the pyramid scheme, which I quite liked, just a pile of cats. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We've got the catch, which is a cheeky little cat, which just nonchalantly, yeah, I caught this, who cares? Cat nap, because sometimes you can relax. And maybe this will remind you that sometimes it's okay to just chill and be okay and have a doze or a cat nap. Cat cheer, because sometimes life is good, but sometimes it isn't, and we don't need to smile all the time. Cat ass trophy, because you know, some cats like showing their butts. A catalog, because yeah, it's a cat sitting on a log. It's a catalog. And then finally, we've got 2 stickers that people are voting between, either the musician or the cataclysm. And let me know which one you prefer. We've got the musician, which is all about, you know, little cat strumming its guitar and just making some potentially horrible noises. And we've got the cataclysm, which is a little, yeah, got little cat ears, and that is the cataclysm. So let me know which one you prefer. One of them will be going into the Kickstarter, into the sticker pack, and then I'm going to print a whole bunch of stickers. Everyone will get 2 copies of each of those pictures, and if you like the idea of those, then yeah, please back. And Jean likes the musician. Thank you very much for letting me know. And now that brings me to the end. Now, if you're still watching, I'd be interested to hear what you're looking forward to in the next day or so. I'm going to be playing games with people streaming tonight at 8 a.m. Alan, I like your little extra pun. A very feline one there. Yeah, tonight I'm going to be playing Freemel, which is a game for DL deck that I've not done for a while. And we're going to be playing Say Anything, which is always a bunch of fun. I'm going to be back again tomorrow, where I'll just be answering any random questions. Oh, thank you very much, Alan. That's lovely and kind of you. I'm going to keep doing this. I've had a lot of fun. It's been lovely having you with us. And we will all, I'll be doing this every day until life changes, basically. And Jean says, oh, Jean is suffering from coronavirus. And my heart and many hugs go out to you, Jean. I hope that you're able to rest and, yeah, literally sort of bear hug. This is like my virtual hug to you. Yeah, what else am I looking forward to? Oh, today I am going to try and do a little bit of a workout because I didn't do it yesterday. And sometimes I do want to address the fact that when I talk about working out, or when I talk about the fact that I'm getting up early, I don't want to make anyone feel bad for not doing things. Like, if you can't work out, or if you can't play games, then please don't feel bad about it. Just do whatever you can. And, you know, like, that's a lovely thing to say, Gina. I'm really honored to be your companion. and I hope that we can all be companions. And I feel like people like yourself, like Jess, Alan Outson, Kate, and Dave, who just popped in to say hello, and Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Liz. It is super lovely to see you, and I hope that you're all having wonderful days. And yeah, this is amazing, kind of just seeing people pop in and say something. And it reminds us all that even apart, we can still be together in some way. Um, yeah. And yeah, that I will be back here tomorrow, as I said. If you've got literally any respectful questions, then please ask them, and I will definitely answer them tomorrow. Um, yeah, literally any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll definitely answer them tomorrow. I'll make tomorrow's thing quite soon. And for now, all that's left to say is bye, 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 bye. This is the bye bye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye, and now it's time to go. Bye bye.